This is block 1 of the Riley Blake Designs Block Challenge Quilt Along. This first block is called Daisy Chain and it's designed by Holt. Since I'm only using scrap fabric, I made one major change to this block pattern. My A and D are supposed to be long strips, but I'm using 2 different fabrics for D. So instead of one long strip, I'm doing 2 medium strips, and then I will piece A and D together and subcut from there. I've also gone ahead and marked all my B's with a diagonal line on the wrong side of the fabric. Okay, I'm so excited, let's get started. Okay, I'm going to start by matching up my A strips with my D strips. Then I'm going to get my B and E pieces. I'm going to start by splitting my E's into 2 piles of 4. Then I'm going to be extra careful that I'm going to be making mirror images. So I'm going to do that for the rest of them, and I'm going to set those all aside. Next up, we've got this F piece, and we're going to do a very similar thing. We're going to do the Easy Sew corner. So at this point you should have 4 more of these B squares left, and they're going to go on the other corners of these F squares. After we've sewn these ones down, of course. And lastly, we're going to get our center 9 patch together. The G is the center, H's are the sides, and C's are the corners. We're going to start by sewing these together, and then without pressing, we're going to sew these on next because these seams don't overlap. Now that I've got all my pieces prepped, I can take it over to the sewing machine and get sewing. Okay, I've come to the center pieces, so I'm going to sew along this side for each one, and then I'm going to turn the whole thing around and then sew on the other side. Now I'm going to cut these apart and press them. I pressed my AD strip sets to the blue, and now I am subcutting. Now I'm going to match up the medium blue with the light blue, and I'm going to take it to my machine and sew it into a 4 patch. Here are the pieces for my center 9 patch. I've pressed towards the blue with these as well. So the seams should all nest very nicely. For my fancy corner pieces, I actually did something a little different. I pressed my seams open, and I haven't done that before. I just want to see if it's easier to piece later on if I press the seams open. So I'm going to set these aside for now, and I'm going to add the second corner triangle to each of these. So I've got 3 groups to sew. Back to the pressing mat. I've pressed these seams open for the BF unit, and then for these 2 units here, I pinwheeled the seam so that it would be nice and flat. Let's see. But for now, we're going to set these aside, and we're going to combine these. So I'm going to take it to the machine, and I'm going to sew all of these together. And then after that's done, I'll sew these on. Okay, that turned out pretty well. So now I'm going to chain piece the rest of them. Okay, I've pressed 2 of these to the outside and 2 of these to the center so that they nest nicely with my center 9 patch. So let's put this all together and see what it's going to look like. Let's skip ahead to the finished block. Okay, I have to show you what I did. I was so excited to be done that I stopped paying attention and I sewed it on backwards. So, I gotta unsew all that. Block 1 is officially done, and Block 2 comes out next Tuesday, just a few days away. Okay, see you again soon. Bye!